Looks to come inside and find one, a goal, and find the back of the net for Perth.
And the Azzurri have come back from 2 goals down to tie it up.
Cue the celebrations for the Azzurri.
Yeah, welcome to the Perth SC Podcast. Great to have you on board again for the final time in 2024. Another huge week for the Perth Azzurri Football Club. Huge episode to come. Some very special guests. Firstly, though, another big reminder. If you've listened to the Perth SC Podcast at any stage throughout 2024, make sure you head over to your favourite podcast provider, Spotify, YouTube, Apple. Make sure you give it a big 5 stars so we can come back even stronger in 2025. Plenty to get through over the next, close to an hour or so on this episode. We'll reflect on the season that was for a lot of our senior sides. It's all wrapped up and, a little bit upset that the most of the football's finished. Still plenty to look forward to this weekend. We'll get into that in a quick second. So, of course, the State Cup final. So, a lot of focus on the State Cup, which is coming up this weekend. We'll chat to Baxter Thew from the Azzurri NPLW side. Basil Lenzo is going to jump on board for a little while, as well as Gianluca Murray from our 20s. All three will be involved in what should be a massive day at the Samco Football Centre on Saturday afternoon. Very much looking forward to bringing you a little bit of the preview of that. More on that very, very shortly. Firstly, a big congratulations to our 18s men who took out the league title on the weekend. Absolutely outstanding, fellas. And big congratulations to Basil and the team and everyone else associated there. Very much looking forward to gauging some of his thoughts on the season that was a little bit later on in the pod. Seeing that it is the final episode, I thought we might just take a little bit of a look down at memory lane. The season that was in 2024, here's a little bit of a package that I kind of put together reflecting on, the ups, downs and in-betweens, particularly for our NPL men and NPL women. Let's take a listen. 2024 brought a mixed bag of results both on and off the pitch for the Perth Soccer Club. NPL men's coach Danny Hay departed the club to pursue an opportunity with new A-League club Auckland FC. And in the last week of March, it was announced that former Perth Glory coach Kenny Lowe would take the reins from round 5. But Kenny would have his work cut out, with the side banking just 6 points from its first 5 fixtures. Life under the new manager started with a buzz as Perth came back from a goal down in the final 15 minutes to record a 2-1 win over Balcatta in Kenny's first fixture in charge. From there, though, it was tough going for the young Azzurri side as they struggled to implement the new style. Injury played its role in the bad luck, with the side losing Zaid Farah for a big part of the season, and ongoing injury concerns also plagued captain Harley Orr and Kiwi import Ben Stroud. But while the Azzurri men struggled to implement the new style, going on the next 6 games without a win, there was no such issues for their NPLW counterparts as the Azzurri women opened their season with a record of 6 wins and 1 loss. Big wins against UWA and the NTC saw eventual Golden Boot winner Ella Lincoln score 11 goals in her first 7 fixtures as the Azzurri girls did their best to stay in touch with top spot Perth Red Star. That also be bolstered midway through the season with the inclusion of A-League W players Georgia Cassidy and Tian McKenna, as well as Grace Johnston, who was returning from a long-term injury. Unfortunately, though, for winger Jess Flannery, a serious injury picked up midway through the season meant she wouldn't see any more time on the park in 2024. Neck and neck with Perth Red Star for the league heading into the final few rounds, the Azzurri women fell slightly short of what turned out to be the title-winning fixture in round 16. Despite Azzurri's best efforts, Red Star prevailed, going on to win the title for the 3rd straight year as they finished the season 6 points clear of Perth. For the Azzurri men, the back end of the season remained touch and go, as the boys did their utmost to stay clear of the dreaded relegation positions. With the side having never been relegated from the men's top flight in their 76-year history, the task at hand was clear for everyone involved: win and survive or face the drop. Just 4 points separated the Azzurri and Perth Glory in the survival race, and with 3 games to play, round 20 dished up the result of the season as Azzurri defeated 3rd place Fremantle City 2-0 on the Friday night to pile the pressure back on the Glory. The result meant Glory would have to win all of their remaining fixtures. It would be a nervous wait for Azzurri fans as the weather played havoc with the rest of the round 20 fixtures. They'd have to wait all the way until the Tuesday night where Glory found themselves 2-0 up only to be overrun late by Stirling, much to the relief of the Azzurri army. Even though safety was secured in a stunning run of form, Perth claimed 7 points in their final 3 fixtures to finish an eventual 9 points clear of the drop. While for our Azzurri women, there was still plenty to play for as they qualified for the State Cup final and the postseason Top 4 Cup. Yeah, so there we have it. A little bit, as I said prior, ups, downs, everything in between. It was a bit of a roller coaster season, plenty of highs and, plenty to work on in time for 2025. As many have said, it's not the character that gets built in the good times, it's the character gets built in the rough times. And, a little bit rough for a couple of our teams across the journey. So very much looking forward to being onwards and upwards in 2025. I'll tell you who is on the up, and that is 3 of our teams involved in the Cup finals this Saturday. First of which, NPLW side, captained by Baxter Thew, of course. We're going to catch up with Baxter right after this. Big weekend at the Sam Kerr Football Centre for the Perth Azzurri. Not 1, not 2, but 3 teams in Cup finals. It is going to be absolutely painted Azzurri blue. And one of the teams involved is our NPLW team captain, Baxter Thew, joins us. Bax, how are you feeling ahead of the weekend?
Yeah, we're really excited. I think the mood's really high amongst the girls. We're ready for a big game, that's for sure.
You finished the season on a high 3-0 result against Subi on the weekend. Good feeling heading into, I guess, the postseason?
Yeah, for sure. I think, business end of the season, and we really feel like we're hitting some good form. And, finals are an exciting time of year, so I think everyone's buzzing for those games. Leading into these ones, I think we're ready to go.
What's the mentality shift now? Is it all about just parking what has been throughout the season and full focus in a one-off match on Saturday?
I think we're really carrying like what we've built throughout the season into these last 2 games, and I think we definitely feel like we had a great season. But I don't want to say we were unhappy, but I definitely feel like we felt like we were capable of winning the league, and we really want to take that the ambition and hunger we have to get something out of this season into these next 2 games, and let that fuel a good performance. And I guess the good habits that we've built and the football that we've been playing, we definitely want to carry that into the next 2 finals. So, yeah.
Training throughout the week, how's the feeling within the team, and how's training been going?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, training last night was really competitive. Everyone's really energetic. I feel like there's a lot of hunger amongst the team and excitement. Like I said, I think we're really wanting to put our best foot forward. I think we feel like we are capable of success. So, we're really excited and want to give it a really good crack.
I have asked you this before, but I guess just reflecting on the season, you've beaten Red Star already this season. Does that give you some confidence that you can match it with them in a one-off on Saturday?
Yeah, for sure. We've proved to ourselves that we are capable of beating them, and I think we've proved as well on, throughout the other games, although results haven't gone our way against them, I think we've proved that, we can play good football against them and, we can push them. I think we're going in fully confident that we're capable of getting the job done. Whilst respecting and acknowledging that, Red Star are a quality side.
Where do you feel the lessons have been learnt from those previous encounters?
Yeah, I think the one that springs to mind at that first game, and I wasn't actually playing, I was injured from the sideline, but I think we outplayed them. But if you don't take your chances, you definitely can get punished. Red Star are a very experienced team, and they will find a way to win. So I think definitely we need to be clinical up front and take our chances. And then I think I fully back the football that we can play, and I know we're capable of beating them. So I think we just really have to be intentional with the mentality that we go into the game with, have full belief, have hunger and desire. I think accept that Red Star are a good team. They will force errors, but we just have to respond to those errors in the best way possible and not dwell on them. Expect high pressure moments, but be smart and calm in them. I think, being clinical, sticking to our principles, and then just going in with the right mentality will be crucial, I think.
Without giving too much away, Bax, what are the areas of Red Star's game where you feel you can really exploit?
Oh, like I want to be respectful. I think they're a quality side. I think we're probably focusing more on us and our strengths and that we're a good footballing team. I think we've got quality players that we want on the ball and we can keep the ball, and we want those, those good players running at the Red Stars defence causing chaos. I think it's a very diplomatic answer, but we're not focusing too much on them. I think we're focusing on us. We respect their quality, but I do think we are a very good footballing team that can keep the ball, be patient in our build-ups, be brave, and cause some chaos up front with some very quick and clinical strikers up top.
They've got plenty of firepower, particularly up front and across that mid. Caitlin Douglas, Rena Kagami, Olivia Wood, just to name a few there, probably names that you and personalities which you'll know very, very well. Yeah. How do you, in particular, and, marshalling the back line, try and keep those players quiet, do you feel?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big battle. And, like I said, they have got quality all over the park. But I really do think, if we were to ask them these questions, they would say the same and respect the quality that we have. Like I said, I back the football that we play, and I think to keep them at bay, we will just have to be up for the battle, be willing to put our body on the line. And I think it's just concentration and staying calm and absorbing those high-pressure moments. Which I think we are capable of, and they have got some threats up front, but I do think our backline is a strength of our team. It's the back four. I think it's the whole 11 is willing to shiver and get back and defend and get behind the ball. So I think that will be a big focus when we're trying to nullify their threats.
Possibly a little bit of weather on Saturday. You've dealt with that throughout the season. Do you feel it kind of favours one team or another? And how do you feel you've dealt with some of the, inclement weather and nasty conditions that you've gone throughout the season?
Yeah, I think both teams have to deal with it equally. I don't think it will affect one more than the other. I think we've become quite accustomed to training in the rain and the wind. I think we deal with it okay. And, one game springs to mind is the cup game against Fremantle where the weather conditions were awful. I think the pitch was flooded in some areas, and that was probably one of the best games I think we've played. We still managed to keep possession, keep the ball on the floor. We didn't, divert to a scrappy style of football because of the weather. I was quite proud of that performance, and despite difficult conditions, we still were able to play our game. So I'm hoping it will be okay, but if it is a bad weather, I think we'll be able to deal with it.
And playing at the Sam Kerr Football Centre, have you played out there before? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I have played there a couple of times. I think it's an awesome facility. It's pretty special. Really excited, and I think it's a great day for WA football, and hopefully there's a bit of a crowd, which I think always helps fire everyone up. So excited to play at a cool facility.
Just a little bit on your role as captain, Bax. What kind of, approach are you taking? Obviously, you want to go into the game and you want to, be aggressive and making sure that you're doing all the right things and you're on the front foot. But how do you go about maybe tempering some of those expectations or emotions on the day? Yeah,
I think as cliche as it sounds, you just kind of want to treat it like any other game. I think excitement and nerves might play a role. My advice and what I'll be pushing is just, belief amongst the group that we can come away from a result, ensuring that we are up for it. But my advice would just be, play yourself into the game, play the simple passes, let the nerves settle, absorb that at the start of games. You just sit with the pressure at the start and, believe that the game will settle. And as we start to, gain possession and make some attempts on goal, I think things start to settle. So, I think my advice would just be to approach it as calmly as you can, play yourself into the game, and just enjoy it and be up for it. And, at the end of the day, it's a game of soccer, and the worst case scenario is that you'll lose, which would suck. But at the same time, you've got to enjoy it, enjoy the moment, and just do your best. So I think that will be my role, trying to pass it on to the group and practice that myself.
And I guess without getting too far ahead of ourselves, what would it mean to walk away with the State Cup come Saturday evening, Bax?
Yeah, I think it will be special just for such a new group. I know every team in the league has worked hard, but we have worked really hard. We've got a lot of quality, and I think we feel like we deserve some success for the football that we've been playing, and for the performance that we've displayed. So it would mean a lot. I think it would mean a lot for the club, and it would be really special. So very excited, and there's players in the team that haven't won silverware before, so it would be awesome for them to be able to enjoy that moment.
Absolutely, yeah. The entire club is well and truly behind you. You'll have plenty of support down there, and everyone will take their Azzurri scarves, I'm sure, and get well and truly 100% behind the girls and the rest of the Azzurri teams that are in participation on the weekend. All the best, Bax. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Look forward to it, and we look forward to seeing everyone there. That's really exciting.
Big thank you to Baxter Thew, who joined us a little bit earlier on. Great to have a bit of a chat about the women. Looking forward to their cup final this weekend. As mentioned, two other teams. We're going to speak to Gianluca Murray a little bit later on. But coach of the 18s, he's a happy man this week, fresh from taking out the league. It'll be all focus on this cup, or celebrations will be on hold, and all focus will be on this Saturday for the big cup. Basil Lenzo joins us. Baz, big congratulations, mate. How's things feeling after the big league win?
Thanks, legend. Not too bad. Most of them are under 18, so there's not much we can celebrate other than some water, maybe some cordial, and some snakes after the game. But we're pretty stoked. We're pretty stoked. A great group of guys with a massive work ethic, and they've literally played their heart out all year. So I'm really happy for them.
Take us into that game on Saturday. It was tight ladder-wise going into it, but the boys responded beautifully and knocked off second place Perth Glory to win the title 4-0. You must have been stoked with that result. Yeah,
they really executed on our game plan. I've had many years of playing against Glory, and you can have as much as the ball as you want, but if you're not going to be highly effective with it, it becomes a different discussion. So we had a plan, the players executed, we did a review, and 3 of the 4 goals were just things that we did on the training ground. So I was so stoked with that, and again, just so happy for them that they were disciplined enough to execute on it. So yeah, it was really good.
The trophy is one thing, Baz, but I guess if you to take a step back, what pleased you the most throughout the season thus far?
So, Blaine, I think one thing is that there's got to be credit to Giancarlo from the 16s of last year. 10 of these players came from the 16s. And I had a close working relationship with him, and we had a few of them that played in and out of that group last year. 4 or 5 got at least half a dozen games. We Perth for years did have a principle of, look, let's try and keep it within as much as we can, unless the players are exceptional. And we've done that, right? And those players were very familiar with our style. We tinkered a little bit. We worked with their techniques. We worked with the strategy. And I think just all in all, if you want to see a team which epitomizes hard work, discipline, and what's really important is they've got a really great energy. Some of them are not technically proficient, but you know what? Give me these traits anytime, and that's what's made it fantastic. It really has.
I was thinking and putting some questions together for yourself, and I was thinking the difference in the coaching the seniors, the 20s, and then you got the 18s, because it's a bit of a tricky spot to coach, isn't it? Because you've got to find that balance, I guess, between the competitive side, and these guys want to win. They want to go out there and do their best, but there's also a development phase to it as well. How did you find that balance?
Yeah, good question. Before I answer that, I've been fortunate enough here at Perth. I've coached them all, including the first team. And look, so this development discussion is a real interesting one. My view is winning is a element of development. It has to be. that is a bit. It has and was and should be a major DNA of our principles of play at Perth Soccer Club, right? It is hard to replicate what you're up against Perth every week, right? Perth is up against every club that just wants to beat them. So, yes, there's an element of development across a number of pillars. However, there has to be that winning DNA, and it was always within the Perth motto, hence why I look at the trophy cabinet. So the balance is really more around, believe it or not, working with the players at balancing their work life, right, their school life. So a lot of them are talented athletes, and at school they are asked to do a lot more than, probably the normal student. So for us, we balance their school life. We understand that when exams come up, exams do take precedent. That's why these guys train from December. And again, what we do at Blade is we actually ask them, what do they want to achieve as a footballer and as an individual, as a team. And, here we are with a really great group of guys who I'd probably like to see half a dozen at least progress into the first team at some stage, as long as they do everything right. It is an interesting conundrum, but one that I have seen over the years is underpinned by that winning mindset.
Is this a side, Basil, you feel that can go on to bigger and better things as they work their way through the seniors?
Look, it's subjective. I think there's definitely 4 to 6 players. I've been around here for a long time, was involved with, seeing Silla, the DeLeos going through Santages. In 2009, 10, I've seen a lot of great youth players go through. I do think it's something that they can still aspire. There's 4 or 5 of them that can aspire to be first-team players, without doubt. But for anyone to look at the current group and say this one and this one, there'll be 1 or 2 that stand out. But there's always, this is a bit of a cycle they go through, and they all come through at different stages. So I think I really do think there's 4 or 5 that could progress. But let's not put that pressure on them so young, because right now there's also, as Gary Mrocky used to say to myself, you still got to study hard and make sure you got a plan B. Yeah.
You kind of touched on it there, and I wanted to talk about this in a more holistic sense. 18-year-old men, they're at different stages of not only their football journey and their development, but also physically, mentally, growing into young men as well. So, there's a fair bit to balance, not only from their side, but your side as well.
As my wife says, every season I've got an additional 16 kids that I think we as coaches like to act as a bit of a figurehead for them. And there is, Blaine, there's a lot to balance. There's not a week where I'm not talking to a couple of players, just managing workload, or, just them going through their own process in the way they got to go around their football, and they would like to know more and how can they get better. But yeah, it's not a 3-day training session a week role. It's a lot more than that if you want to give them the best chance to progress. I'd like to think that as coaches, myself, Paddy and Giancarlo, and our goalkeeper coaches, Steve and Glenn, are also there as mentors to these kids. I still talk to a lot of the young boys that are either applying their trade at other clubs or they're, overseas having a crack. So it is a balancing act, and I'm pretty proud of what we've done with the 18s for some time. But I think it's a great age group. It's a great age group.
Basil, you've been around a while, as you said. You've probably coached just about every age group at Perth, but previous, I think I'm right in saying you're at Subiaco. Take us through your kind of football journey and how you ended up at Perth Soccer Club.
Oh, that's how long we got. Look, I as a supporter, my father used to come down to watch Perth Azuri, and I can remember myself as a 6, 7-year-old writing, journalist articles about Azuri's feats on the weekend, whether they'd beaten Dalmatinex or Stirling or Kingsway. I think Ascot at some stage. I played at Chewett Hill until I was at the age of 11, and then I came over to Perth Azuri back then. I played with Marco Mucciarone, Joey Carboni. I actually played with Giancarlo Ando as well from a young age. And at 18, I did a knee playing under Gary Mrocky, and I was actually having a really good year, and my knee blew out against Floreat in the reserves. Did a really silly tackle, and I did an ACL. At that stage, I thought, you know what, I still want to stay involved at the club. And Gary actually encouraged me to just do a coaching course, and I started just coaching the under 10s or 11s, the Div 1 side. And believe it or not, I actually coached Christian Rocky and young Robert Georgie. They were in my side. That could be a podcast in itself. Those two. And then, after I recovered from my knee, I came back to Perth. After I recovered from my knee, and that was when I was 20. I actually went to Kingsway with Normo, and I did a pre-season under Normo. And then about 6-7 games in, I quite wasn't feeling it there, but I got poached by Aldo. So Aldo gave me a call, and I went to Bayswater and played under Bayswater. Played with Aldo at Bayswater for a couple of years. I came back to Perth at 23. Aldo got me to come across again, and had a great couple of years at Perth. And I got to 25, 26, and thought, look, I started my career. I was more interested in. I got married. I just wanted to play I really recognised at that point of time that I just played to have, because I love the game. So I was still coaching through all that period. And then from then, I thought, you know what, I'm going to continue coaching. And I did a lot of coaching at Balcatta. I coached at Stirling Lions and got them out of Division 1 into the State League back then with Thorpe. I played till I was 34. In fact, my last game was in the State League against Perth. And I then at that point went, you know what, I actually want to coach a little bit more seriously. And I came back to Perth and have been at Perth for a long time. There was a spate there where I did leave Perth for about 18 months, went and coached over at Subi. But thankfully, I came back to Perth and have been there since. I had a really good spate of coaches that I played under, some amazing people. Brian Drobignac, Mel Brown, Tony Trinker, Aldo Trinker, Gary Mrocky. I had some amazing coaches. Coached under Normo, coached with Gianfranco, coached under Ronnie Campbell in his short stint. So look, Perth has been very, very good to me, and I've known a lot of people over the journey. So it's been in my blood for a long time.
Going back, mate, was coaching always an ambition, or were you more just keen on playing?
Look, I think when I was 20, in my early 30s, when we won a state league with Stirling. You sort of think, I'm going to be a coach. I want to be a full-time coach. And then you quickly realise it's a very, very small market. And I decided that I just want to coach because I love the game. It's my passion, but I'll just go and focus on my corporate career. And I've been quite blessed to have a partner and my wife who has supported me through that journey. So, I've been really fortunate playing the game. I've not only been able to play the game till I was 34 at a high level, but then, continued playing in the socials and Bet Styles 42 but I've been able to coach all this time. So I have been really, really fortunate to be involved in this game for a long time.
Basil, just looking ahead to the weekend, up against Perth Red Star. The game's happening at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning. It is the first cab off the rank as far as a big cup final day goes at the Samco Football Centre. What have you made of Red Star so far this season?
Yeah, I always admire ECU, always produce talent, have a real attacking approach to playing football. We'll always look to get the ball forward. We'll always look to get players forward. But they've been doing it for years. So I think you'll find that it will be an aggressive and an attacking game. They've got some good talent, just like we have. And, just keeping the players focused on week by week. I know we all say it, but it's for them, they're really focused on trying to do a double. And then rolling into the top four, and that's all we've been really worried about. We know we're going to get a good game, but they know they're going to get a good game back.
Yeah, very much looking forward to it. As mentioned, 11 o'clock on Saturday morning. Baz, a big congratulations on the season, and it'd be absolutely fantastic if you could pull off the double on the weekend. All the best.
Thanks, buddy, and keep up the good work.
Big thank you to Baxter Thew, who joined us earlier on. Just there, we spoke to Basil Lenzo. Of course, a big cup final weekend to come, all Saturday afternoon. And as I said, magnificent to have, Perth participating in 3 out of the 4 matches this weekend, including our 20s. Gianluca Murray is coach of the 20s men, and he is absolutely chomping at the bit, I'm sure, to get stuck in to their game this weekend up against UWA. Looking forward to this one. Gianluca, thanks for joining us, mate.
Thanks for having me.
Mate, you must be pretty stoked heading into this weekend. It's a huge day for the Azzurri, isn't it?
Yeah, massive day for the club. It just shows, how much work goes in behind the scenes, and the history of success that we have. That we can have 3 teams in a cup final day. It's awesome.
Do you take a bit of inspiration from that there is the 18s and the girls, obviously the senior women involved as well?
Absolutely. As a club, we pride ourselves on our success and winning trophies. And it'll be a great day for the club. Hopefully we can get a good turnout at the State Football Centre, and hopefully we can make it a really good day.
We'll talk a little bit more about the cup final in just a second, mate. I just want to gauge some reflections on the league season. Finishing 10 points behind Perth Glory in the end. You finished second, so nothing to sneeze about there. But how did you sum it up from your end?
Look, it's been an excellent season. It's been really, really good, and we've learnt a lot. And at reserves level, the learning is the most important bit. We've got a young squad. Winning wasn't necessarily the goal at the start of the season. It sort of became that when it looked like a real possibility. But the real achievement for us this year was getting, half our squad first team debuts. I think we had 6 in the end, which is awesome. And it shows that, what we're doing in the 18s and the 20s, building for men's football is working. So that's been really, really impressive to see. We've played I'd like to think, a really positive brand of football, something that, the Perth Azzurri fans can be proud of. And I'd like to think, we really pushed it till the end. I know 10 points doesn't seem like it, but we still played our way. We didn't change, and we learnt a lot. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day.
Just want to get you to delve into, I guess, that development a little bit more. Is it as simple as the proof is in the pudding and we watch the players just go on to bigger and better things? But how have you seen the development in particularly some of the individuals, both on and off the pitch?
Oh, it's been awesome. As you said, both on and off the pitch. I think they've done a lot of growing up this year. We really framed it as a men's environment. We made them take charge of their own development and really force themselves to improve. And I think we've seen that. I think we've seen lots of, every single player has gotten better towards the end. which is really, really good to see. And it's why we do it at the end of the day.
You said you kind of set up that adult environment. Does that kind of, without being too harsh, does that kind of sort out the players that are serious about things compared to the players that may not be taking it so seriously, might have the talent in the world, but may not just be working as hard as what they should be?
Oh, 100%. 100%. But we made that very clear from the start that we were setting a professional environment. And, the players came here to train in a high-intensity environment. We try to make the best environment we can in WA. And I think, the players have really taken to it. They look after themselves. They're all super fit, super healthy, and they work hard. That's one thing that my team does. They work super, super hard, and they deserve everything they get.
We spoke to Basil Lenzo just a few minutes ago, and he spoke about his relationship with the grades below him, the 16s, that forms the assembly line, if you like, to push up into the 18s, and then you've got the 18s push up into the 20s, and hopefully they go on to senior football and bigger and better things beyond that. How's your relationship with both Basil and getting those 18s through, but then also kind of working with Kenny Lowe and the senior team to kind of push those players up?
Yeah, look, we didn't get as many players from the 18s progressing as we'd like, as we usually would. We went and picked a young extended squad with the view of essentially having a reserves team. A lot of teams in that age group get left by themselves. 6 people at training, half of them are training with the first team. And you can't really develop a team environment where the players develop. But this year we picked an extended squad. We had massive numbers of training, which was really impressive. And that meant that, the 18s had a difficult time breaking in, which was tough. And the 18s have done a fantastic job winning the league on the final day. Really impressive and a credit to everything they're doing. On the other side of that, we had plenty of players progress into that first team environment. I think half the squad at the end of it were training with the first team in the mornings. So that was really impressive to see as well. And I guess it's a success at every level there.
We spoke about the player development, mate, but how have you seen your own growth as a young coach throughout the season?
I've learnt a lot. And I think I've developed as a coach. I think, we've developed an excellent culture in our 20 squad, a culture that centers around respect and love at the end of the day, and trust. And I think that shows from our performances on the pitch. Man management has been a super interesting curveball this year, but one that I think, we as a coaching staff, because Don D'Alessio as well helps out with that, a senior head in the group. And we've got a young coach who joined our ranks this year, Sam Wilkinson. So he got to learn a lot as well, as we were all learning. I think that was really, really great to see towards the end.
Gianluca, take us through the Cup this weekend. It's up against UWA. Are they a little bit of an unknown quantity?
For me, not really. We obviously have that partnership with UWA. So we have a couple of loan players down there representing their first team. I actually worked for UWA last year in a little bit of a joint work role between the clubs. So I'm quite familiar with their setup. They've got a new coach in this year, Coach Vinny, who won the league last year at Subiaco. So they're a great squad. They're an older squad, more experienced squad. So we know what we're coming up against. We know what to expect. We know it's going to be a hard game and a challenge, but I think it's one we're ready for.
Mate, take us behind enemy lines. Where are their strengths and where do you feel you might be able to exploit them a little bit?
I'll keep my cards a little bit close to my chest on this one, but no, they're an experienced side and we expect a physical encounter. But we also want us to play our brand. We want to keep the ball, play with the ball, be progressive, and play attacking football. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to be, on that surface at the football centre, one that we can play. It'll be a great challenge for our lads, and we'll see how they go.
Yeah, looking to be a little bit slick out there. The rains forecast to come in a little bit earlier in the day, so we'll see how the Sam Kerr Football Centre holds up in maybe a little bit of wet and maybe dewy conditions out there as well. Just looking to the side, full strength as far as no one's cup tied or anything like that?
No one's cup tied. We've got Jamie McNellis back from the first team, so he'll be lacing on the boots for the 20s for the first time in a while. We've got a couple of players back from injury this week. Both Sprigg brothers are back, and Johnny Recupero as well looks to be back at full fitness. So we've got a full strength side. Rocco Liberti as well also played enough games to be eligible for the 20s at the start of the season. So yeah, we've got a full strength side. A lot of confidence going into this one.
How many did they have to play, mate? Just for the listeners, how many? What was the criteria as far as that went?
So they've got to play 50% of the games that the team plays. So obviously we had the 22 rounds of the NPL and then 4 cup games leading up to it, 26. So they've got to play 13, and every one of the players has achieved that.
I asked Baxter the same question, mate. What would it mean to walk away with the cup on come Saturday evening?
Oh, I think the lads deserve it. They've worked so hard this year. We train more than any other club, 3 times a week. We have a long pre-season, and they've worked so hard. It would be great to see them get a reward at the end of the day.
Mate, I'm sure you're going to have plenty of support. That one is all happening at 1 p.m. at the Sam Kerr Football Centre. So the 18s at 11, the 20s at 1, and the senior women at 4 p.m, I believe. I'll have to check that up, and we'll have more details coming up a little bit later on in the pod. Gianluca, thanks very much for joining us, mate.
Cheers. Thanks for having me.
So there we have it. Just about time to wrap up our final edition for 2024, the Perth SC Podcast. It's been absolutely magnificent. Just before I give a few thank yous to everyone, don't forget the football. We might be reflecting on a big season, but there's still plenty of football to get through. We've got all the cup finals happening this weekend, Saturday afternoon. You can see, in fact, in the morning, I will get my timing right this time, under 18s, they're in action from 11 o'clock up against Perth Red Star. Our 20s are in action at 1:30 against UWA. And then the mighty Azuri women in action against Perth Red Star at 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Big thank you to everyone who's jumped on the podcast so far this season. It's been very much appreciated. Big thank you to Jason Marocchi and the board for allowing me to do it and tell brilliant stories out of an absolutely wonderful club and a big part of the Perth community. So I do thank everyone for allowing me to do that. Just a quick one from myself. If you've really enjoyed the podcast, you've had a listen throughout the year, I'd love if you could head over to Google and give Perspective Productions a little bit of a review on there. It would be absolutely magnificent if you could do that. And what it's doing is just ensuring that I can keep bringing you plenty of football stories, whether it's out of Perth Soccer Club or just other stories out of WA football. Would be absolutely magnificent. Well, that wraps things up. Big good luck to everyone this weekend, and come on the Azuri.